I'd like to call the order of the Pleasant Grove City Council on this Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. And we have all of our council present this evening, along with a lot of our staff. And also we welcome those who have joined us in the audience of our citizens, and also those who have joined us on remotely. So this evening I'd like to make an some opening remarks concerning what's happening in our community right now. Yesterday morning I was given a call by the school district, which I've been following this anyway because I have a granddaughter that's in Pleasant Grove High School, and I knew things weren't looking well towards the end of the week, and especially when her parents got the call Sunday night that she would not be allowed to come back to school till the 8th because she was in a class that was compromised by someone who had COVID. And so we are working with the district, not really working with them. They're keeping us informed, and we're being supportive of their needs. And the district is not part of Pleasant Grove City, but they do have, our schools are in Pleasant Grove. So we are, and they informed me of what the process were, and I told them that we were supportive of what they were going to do, and also offered our support and services in setting up the mobile test lab, which will be tomorrow and Thursday. So that's where we are with the district, and they're great to work with and keep us informed of what's going on in our schools. And we wish them well in getting everybody back to school. So with that, we'll start our meeting, and we'll start with a Pledge of Allegiance by Kyler. And also after that, we'll have opening remarks by Councilmember Anderson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are very grateful for the opportunity that we have to come together as citizens and friends and neighbors to the City Council meeting. We ask a special blessing on Pleasant Grove, that we will be safe, that we will be healthy, that we will be inspired to do those things that will be best for the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. We're grateful for this chance that we have to go through these agenda items tonight, and we pray that we will also be inspired for what will be best for Pleasant Grove in the long run. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Kyler and Diana. I don't think we have any changes on our agenda this evening.
No change.
Okay, with that, I'd ask for a motion for approval of our agenda this evening.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Lamone. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to our open session. Invite any of the public who would like to come forward and address us at this time with a 3-minute limit, if you remember that. And then please state your name. You would like to come forward now.
I'll do my very best for 3 minutes. Be pretty close. So I've talked to you a little bit before about a possible street name. I know it's not on the official docket until the next session on the 15th, but it's kind of important that I wanted to bring it in tonight, and I'll kind of share why here shortly. So Landon Leo Henscheid was born on April 20th of '89 to Janet and Don Henscheid, and was raised in Alpine, Utah. He's a third of 4 children, but commonly had the energy of all 4 combined. Landon, or Leo, he was commonly known as by his military teammates, loved his country and fighting for those without a voice. His teachers, principals, and of probably some of the Alpine PD can attest to that. He followed in his older brother's footsteps and signed up with the Army in 2006. Now, he was assigned to the 405th CA Battalion here in Pleasant Grove under the USACPOC, which stands for United States Army Civil Affairs Psychological Operations Command. So I'm not going to expect you guys to remember that. He was attached to a Special Forces unit, serving as a medic and working with the village elders in the mountains of Afghanistan. Leo grew to respect the people he served and fulfilled his assignments honorably. Leo bought his first home in Pleasant Grove in 2010 after his first tour of service in Afghanistan. Now, unknown to him at the time, his ancestor, make sure I get this name correct, Henson Walker, had a pivotal role in the early days of Pleasant Grove, which I think that you probably know a lot of the history here, Diane.
Well, I think we all do. So Hanson is famous.
Okay, perfect.
Wasn't
Now-
he first mayor? Yeah, first mayor.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So he opened up his home to a lot of the people in the service. At one point in time, I'm pretty sure his house could be deemed a base just because of the amount of people that would come through that didn't have another place to go. Very giving gentleman. He served his second tour in Afghanistan starting in 2012. During this tour, he and several members of his unit came under enemy fire. Leo was a combat medic, and from some accounts, while attending to the wounded, a mortar blast launched him approximately 20 feet into a wall. He continued to help the wounded, and later that night, he became paralyzed from the chest down. He was medevaced out of Bagram Air Force Base for emergency surgery to reduce the compression on his spine. With his condition worsening, he was flown to Germany, then immediately to Walter Reed in Bastetta, Maryland. Always
Bastet-
struggler.
Yeah, Bastet.
Thank
yeah.
you. I'm not used to reading things. I'm not a
That's
guy
good.
that plans. You guys know that. I just come up and just spout out. So upon further surgeries and testing, it was determined that a very aggressive form of bone cancer had attacked his spine. Upon receiving the call, his parents immediately left Alpine to spend the next 18 months assisting Landon and supporting his care until he passed on December 7th of 2013, which December 7th, as you know, is Pearl Harbor Day. Many family and friends were able to come out during that time to support him in his recovery mission. After burying Leo in Alpine in January of 2014, Don and Janet returned back to Walter Reed to spend the next 6 months with their oldest son, Cody, for injuries he sustained in a blast while he was in combat in Iraq. Don and Janet moved into Landon's house in PG in 2014 and have made it their home still through today. Cody lives a quarter-mile away, and the youngest boy, Hayden, lives right around the corner. I met Leo back in 2010. He had a pit bull puppy named Trigger that would run over for pets. I met his dad, Don, in 2012, shortly after Leo was injured and was sent to Walter Reed. 9 years ago tonight, I laid in a hospital bed in Provo Regional Medical Center, and I went in for surgery the next day that I didn't know I would end up paralyzed from the chest down. That's why today is kind of an important day for this, for me. Me and Leo gained a bond over that. Both of us had very similar symptoms, medications, limitations, and abilities. But we also both wanted to get out of the situation that we were in and were ready to do any work that needed to be done. I met his dad as I was walking out with crutches, and his dad told me what had happened to Leo. And I looked at his dad and I said, he may walk again. And a little bit of man tears may have been shed, but nonetheless, we still made that bond. Now, Leo never stopped trying, he never stopped loving, he never stopped serving his country, and most importantly, he never stopped giving. We're at a time in our nation where the past is being erased and our veterans are being forgotten about. Here in Pleasant Grove, we don't do that. We honor our vets, we remember the past to prepare for the future, we give each other respect and do honor. Now, this is why I'm asking that the street signs between 1300 West and 1550 West on 600 North have the name of SSG Henscheid Way added underneath the 600 North. This is to honor him and his family and for generations to come. Now, coincidentally enough, this is the same street that leads to the front doors of Mount Mahogany Elementary School. How great would it be that in 50 years, we have a kid that's walking down the street and he goes, what is that? He gets on whatever device he has in that time, and he realizes that he's just walked past the house of a hero. Not a hero that dribbles a basketball or catches a football, but a hero that actually lets him walk to school and do the things that he can in this country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Anyone else like come forward?
Can I just follow up on the
Yes.
process? So next, in 2 weeks, we will have a resolution for the council to authorize that, and then that will put that into motion, so.
Is there a way we can get a copy of
That story.
that story?
I will email it. I have a few of the council members have the email of it, but there's a few corrections that I need to make, and I'll send it off again tonight.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
And is there any other place at the cemetery, do we have any record of that? Or is there any way that we can have a plaque or something where it would just be very simply stated? Like, is that
I mean,
could we do that at the Mahogany Elementary?
So when I came in last time, Sid had mentioned that there was a monument there at the cemetery. And I can't remember the gentleman's name that told me that, but I connected him with,
Dion?
yeah. And this is actually Landon's father here. I connected them to
Oh,
information was given correctly. So I believe that that's in the works.
Okay,
Okay.
to have his name engraved in stone there? Okay.
Thank you.
and this
Any-
is Landon's dad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like come forward and address the council?
Mayor, one thing that I didn't realize that we do as a city, and you might, Jim, find this appropriate. I had a veteran reach out to me. He's going to be going on deployment for at least a year, and asked, he had heard and wasn't sure if his utility bill would be paid while he was on active deployment, and that is something that we do as a city that I wasn't aware of. That we do. And Tina, maybe you can clarify, or Scott, what the kind of policy is behind that, but I wasn't aware that we did that, but that's something that I'd like to get the word out to the community about.
So they have to be actively deployed outside of the continental United States, and while they are, if they show their deployment papers, we do not send them a utility bill.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, thank you. With that, if no one else is coming forward, we'll now close our open session and move on to item number 6 this evening, our consent items. Our consent items: A, city council minutes of the July 29th meeting; B, the payment number 8 for Staker Parsons Materials and Constructions for 1100 North and storm drain; and C, to consider approval of change order 1, partial payment 2, BD Bush for the 700 South Silver Improvement Project; and D, to consider approval of payment approval reports for August 27, 2020. With that, if there's no other discussion on the consent items, I'd ask for a motion.
I move we approve the consent items.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We do not have any board, commission, committee appointments or presentations, and we'll move on to item number 9. And we have 3 public hearings this evening, and we'll start with 9A, public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2020-19, amending City Code Section 10, 9B-7-72, single-family residential height considerations for accessory structures, eliminating the conditional use requirements and modifying and qualifying the provision for the height of the accessory structure in all of the R1 single-family residential zones. Director Cardenas.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much. Let's start with me telling you the process. When someone comes to our front counter right now, oh, it looks like it got frozen. Give me 1 second. I know how to unfroze it. There we go. When someone comes to the front counter right now, and someone would like to do a accessory, So, sorry, I gotta tell you guys this. So when I was in college, I was always saying detached accessory structure in the backyard. And then my teacher told me I shouldn't say that. I should call it a SHED, a shed, right? But me having problems with my accent and me keep repeating a word I shouldn't be saying, my teacher was like, keep saying accessory structure. I think it sounds better than you saying something else. So I'm going to refer to an accessory structure, but it's a SHD, all right? That's what I'm going to talk about. So looking at that, when someone comes and says, hey, Daniel, I would like to do a detached accessory structure in my backyard, they have many reasons why they would like to do that. It could be a mother-in-law apartment, which I still don't know who will do that, but some people like to have their mother-in-laws living with them. And then they would like to do a garage or a shop or multiple reasons. Someone comes and shows some plans. The first thing that I look at it is the dimensions of this building, right? So recently we have approved certain codes that now, they used to be conditional uses, and we make them permitted as such as the size of the building, right? Now, for example, if they're in an R1A zone, they could only do an accessory structure that was only 800. If it was more than 800 but less than 1,200, you have to go to a conditional use, and you used to get the whole machinery start working, and at the end we'll come to Planning Commission, and Planning Commission say, just go for it. Just make sure that you build it, that you meet certain criteria in regards to the design of the building. Now, in regards to the height of the building, is something similar. If someone shows up some plans and the height of the building, of the accessory structure in the backyard, is up to 18 feet, what we do right now is we'll make sure that the setbacks, and by setbacks provided, I'm going to show you, I took a picture of this. This is a common neighborhood in Pleasant Grove City. Front yard, backyard. Okay, so two backyards against each other. So if someone comes and presents some plans for a structure, first thing I look at it is, okay, let's take a look at the setbacks. How far away are you from these white property lines? Okay, how far are you from it? And if someone is 9 feet from here to right here and 9 feet from here to right here, the maximum they can go at 9 feet will be 18 feet. If someone wants to build, for example, an accessory structure that is 20 feet tall, then as how we do it right now, as of today, we'll ask a maximum of 10 feet, bring them to Planning Commission, do the whole conditional use permit, send the notices to the neighbors, go through a conditional use process, and then we will approve it, okay? So the situation is always when the height of the building is taller than certain, I would say taller than about 13, 14 feet, you start noticing it from your home. Any structure is taller than 13, 14, that is closer to your property, you start looking at it. And when we have our public hearings, people come and they will like the Planning Commission to stop the construction of the building. Well, it's a conditional use, and the conditions that we have are to build the materials that the building should have need to be similar to the ones of the main house, but people think they can stop it, right? Now, until today, the maximum setback that we require is 10 feet. And then we let them go 25 feet or the height of the primary dwelling, whichever is more restrictive. In other words, if the dwelling, the main house, is only 20 feet, they can't go to 25. They need to keep it at 20. It's still a big building. To give you guys an idea, I can have it right here. I was working with my building official, and if someone does a floor cavity, and for a single-story structure, we're talking about from 14 to 15 feet. From peak, because that's what our code says, from peak to the grading level, to the floor. About that, okay? So, having said that, let me go back to the map. There you go. I'm pretty sure the mayor won't be able to see this number. I'll tell you, it's 8 feet. It's actually 8'4". It was hard for me to mark only 8. So it's 8'4", but that's an idea just for us to realize the distance between a property line and existing structure right there. 8, okay? Having said that, for example, this building, the maximum height of this building at 8'4" should be, I'm gonna go back to the code, 17 feet tall, right there, because they're only giving me 8 feet. Anyway, so what is proposed right now, what is proposed and what this code amendment is for, is that we eliminate the conditional use permit requirement for buildings that go above 18 feet, but that we continue this table. Now, that was the proposal from the staff. In other words, meaning that if you want to go to 19 feet tall, now you're going to provide 10 feet. But if you're going to go to 20, then you need to provide 11. If you're going to go to 21, you got to provide 12, and so on. The biggest concern that I have when people come at the public hearing, when they hear the neighbor is going to put a big mass, a lot of them, they don't care about the square footage of the building. They care about the height of the building and the obstruction of view, okay? So that's the biggest concern that I have. So by staff saying, now we're going to make it conditional, but we're not going to, we're going to make it permitted, but we're not going to stop at 10, but we're going to continue the table, making this clear, that will at least put the building a little far away from the neighbor's property line. In other words, let's go take a look at this map. This line right here is a 16 feet distance. And that will be the maximum setback, okay, for a building of 25 foot tall. If we take a look, it's not that much, but it's also it's a significant amount farther away. As you move a structure farther away from the property line, the plane of view changes a little bit by every foot. So, again, the proposal of a staff is to keep going, and I'm going to take a look at this table, is to continue the table and not just stop at 18 and 9 feet, but continue 19, 10, 20, 11, 21, 12, and so on until 25 or 16. Or the height of the primary dwelling, whichever is more restrictive. So that's the proposal, and to eliminate the conditional use. When I present this item to the Planning Commission said, Daniel, your proposal is good, but no thank you. What we want to do is just to keep it at 10 feet maximum setback. And then you can keep it at 10 feet and go 25 feet tall if you want to. Now, I totally understand the position of the Planning Commission. But again, the biggest concern that the staff has, or most of the phone calls that I have, or most of the people that come to the Planning Commission, is complaining about the disruption of the view. Now, with this, we're not completing, we're keeping the same height. It's exactly as how it is. It's 25, or the restriction of the main building. But by taking away the conditional use, and the staff is going to handle it, what staff proposes is when someone calls me and say, hey, Daniel, they're going to build a massive building of 22 feet. And I'm going to say, yep, but now they're not 10 feet tall. They went to 13 feet tall. So kind of like a staggering setbacks. Every building starts at least at 3 feet from property line. You can do about a one-story building if you go short in the pitch of your roof. You can do about this. So that's what the proposal is. The first item is to apply it in the R1 single family zones, and the second item is in all the rural residential zones. Now, there are other setbacks that apply. We're not changing those setbacks. For example, the distance from the main building to the accessory structure, all those things are dictated by fire department, and they're still kept the same. In this case, it's just eliminating the conditional use requirement. But yes, we're adding a little bit of more setback the taller you go. That's what I have, Mayor and Council. Again, I just want to make emphasis. This is the proposal of staff. the proposal or the
Recommendation.
recommendation, thank you, Scott. The recommendation from Planning Commission is just to eliminate the conditional use requirement and keep the setback as 10 feet up to 25 feet tall. Okay? That's what I have, Mayor and Council. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
I have a question. So theoretically, you could have the home 30 feet, and you could have this accessory building at 25 feet in that same piece of land there.
Yes, sir.
So you end up with practically two buildings.
Yes, sir. That's how we have it right now, correct. And that's something that we already approved when we work on an accessory building part, and we talk about accessory dwellings, which, by the way, yeah, that ordinance is very well received, even in the state of Utah. People are calling me from all over the place. I'm actually teaching a class on how we come to that, because people want to adopt a similar ordinance like that one. It was a good ordinance, if I may say that.
And that's really the complaint of the neighbors, isn't it? If you have complaints, it's the height
Well-
of that building.
Correct.
Yeah.
If I have complaints about that, but we always stop at 10 feet. So,
Right.
like right now, you say you can have a dwelling that is 30 feet, the mother-in-law apartment 25, but only at 10 feet. And what I'm proposing is, if we're gonna have something that is 25 feet, which is actually 2 stories, then go 16. Give me a little bit more. From both sides. And when I say both sides, I'm talking about. Well,
Yeah.
in legal, all this is the backyard, but I'm talking about from both property lines, whatever that is.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I have, Mayor.
So let me get this straight. Now, if the ordinance before us here, 2020-19, is the staff recommendation, it's not the planning commission so you're asking us to go against the planning commission, is that correct?
No, Mayor, I'm asking you to look at both of them and then decide what do you think will be better for the city.
Okay,
But in my opinion, and the opinion of the staff, it's better if we stagger it more than just keep it at 10 feet, based on the experience of my job, yes.
By doing this, though, you eliminate the public hearing on a building of 25 and the angst that occurs at some of those public hearings.
Yes, sir. Couldn't say it better than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I don't know if I love that, because as a neighbor and a structure is going in behind my home or on the side of my home, I want to be able to express concern if it's that height. I mean, that could,
And we're okay, but they come and express their concern, but since it's a conditional use, and we've been applying the 10 foot, it just stays at 10 feet. And what we said at that point is like, is there any chance you can, I mean, the code allows it at this point right now. And sure, public concern is always good, and we're glad to listen to it. It's just, it's a heartache when they come and they make a concern about it, and there's no reason for us not to approve something like that.
so what was the main reasoning objections to the planning commission?
Why do they want to keep it at 10? Actually, that's a little more liberal, if I might say that, because they want to make sure that people can do whatever they want to make sure that the people take better use of their backyard, and if they want to be closer to the property line, it's okay. In other words, planning commission is closer to the proposal of a staff. A staff push for a 25-feet story building, push you at 16. Planning commission wasn't at 10.
10 for between 19 and 25 feet, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
well, I can kind of see their thinking there, though, Daniel, just
Sure.
bear with me here. When you have a structure that's 10 feet off the property line, that's 19 feet, add another 6 feet to that, and it's really not gonna, the view's already gone, okay? So I don't think that adds any more to it, so I kind of see their reasoning there, so.
That's actually an argument the planning commission said, Mayor. I think it's a good argument, but if we think about it too, if you go to a 12 feet tall, you only need 3 feet. Going from 3
Yeah.
to 10 doesn't make a difference. However, we created this to, if we can say, to lessen the impact of the neighbors. So the proposal of staff is just continuing that staggering. It's the same thing, from 3 to 10, does it make a difference? It's 10 feet, right? But it does make a difference for the neighbor. So it's kind of the same now. Now you add 6 feet to it, for the higher you can go. But that was an argument by the planning commission, yes.
Okay.
Can I just say, I mean, obviously Daniel is the one that crafted this initially and made that initial recommendation. The planning commission was okay, particularly with removing the conditional use. Planning commission just wanted a little bit different as far as the staggering is concerned. So, I mean, take into account that you have just Daniel making his recommendation, and then the planning commission does very much have a role in this, and they have a voice in this, so take into account also their thoughts. So this isn't an us versus them. This is we're just saying, here's one way to do it, here's another way to do it, and then ultimately the council will decide.
Until today, we've done it how the planning commission is proposing it to do. So right now, someone comes with a 25-foot story building, and we let it go at 10 foot.
So if that house been going, you've given those variances then, right? That's not, is a variance or
A conditional use.
conditional use?
All of them have been granted, all of them.
Okay.
The ordinance before us is the planning commission's ordinance, is that correct? Is that what I just heard, or not? It's what you're recommending?
What's in front of you guys is staff recommendation.
Okay.
Planning commission will be easier, because planning commission will keep it, won't add this red thing, we just eliminate this right here, and we'll keep the table as it is.
Stop it at 10 feet, yeah. Okay, any other questions for Daniel?
No, not right now.
Okay, thank you. If not, I would now like to open up our public hearing and invite anyone to come forward and address the council on this matter. And please state your name.
I'm James Hancock. I'm here for another agenda item, but this one I wasn't planning on speaking on, but I do have an opinion on this. I agree with the planning commission in leaving it at the 10 feet. You're going to limit significantly people's opportunity to put up a detached garage, and you're going to end up with boats and motorhomes parked right on the property line instead of inside of a garage. And right now, the homes can be built right to 10 feet. A 35-foot home can be built right to 10 feet on the side yards. The backyard is to 25, not to 10. But to pull it back off of the property line to 16 feet, that will limit, I mean, that will throw out quite a few lots here in Pleasant Grove from anybody even putting up a building that size, so, for what it's worth.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
We did receive a comment on YouTube that might be appropriate to read. Darren Rigby said that the planning committee was concerned about the setback for the secondary structure being more than the primary structure.
Good input there, so anyway.
Yes.
Come up, Daniel.
So I get that part too. Let me show you, go back to this, and that's what I drew these two lines. The actual setback for the main structure is this dotted line right here that we can barely see. But that's the one. And the one that staff is proposing as 16 is right here. So it is not more. It is more on the side right here, on the side yard, but not on here on the back. Here on the side yard is 10 feet, and it's gonna go up 6 feet, but only on this side, not completely on the back. As you can see, this line right here is way farther away from property line than this one right here. It's 25 feet in this zone or 30 feet in the RR. So it is not more than the actual setback for the main building.
So your side yard is 10 feet setback.
Correct.
It's more on the side yard.
More
but
in the
not
side yard,
backyard.
not in the backyard.
So I don't know if the comment was referring to side or back. It didn't say, it just said setback, right? So
Okay,
it's true in
thank
a
you.
sense.
Whoa,
That was fast.
nice catch. Is this altered at all zone by zone?
No,
No, this is citywide,
correct.
all zones.
Correct. The only thing that alters is the setback for the main building.
Well,
That
it's
alters.
all R1 zones.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying.
For this item,
Thank you
yes.
for
The next
clarifying.
item is the RR, but for this item, yes, they're all 25.
Thanks, Daniel. Anyone else? Not? I will now close our open session and bring it back up here to the council for further discussion before we make a motion. Is there any other things the council would like to?
Let me make sure that I understand. So, we're changing the height considerations for accessory structures. It was not approved by the planning commission, not recommended by the planning commission to make this change.
So
Not-
we're not,
not
we're not
relating the
changing the
height.
height.
Okay,
So the height is going to stay intact. The question is whether we were going to
There's a setback.
require a conditional use. That was the first item. So
We're
we're going to
taking out.
eliminate the conditional use, which eliminates a public hearing. The second part of that is the setback from the side and the rear, depending on the size. Staff's recommendation is to tier it so that the higher the structure, the more you have to push it back off the side and the back. And planning commission's was, we just want to cap it at 10 feet on the setback. We don't want to go 11, 12, 13, 14. But the height of the structure can only be 25 feet maximum.
so is that B then, or is that still A?
What do you mean B?
On the agenda.
Oh,
Hey,
no, B is
That's
just,
another one.
B-
Don't confuse.
is
Okay,
a
so,
rural-
but I guess that's the question, right? If we wanted to go on the recommendations of the planning commission and/or Mr. Hancock, how would we change this?
you just, you.
Or
you-
would we need to?
No, you just approve what's in the ordinance, subject to the planning commission recommendation.
Yeah. Which is the 10 feet.
Instead of going 16. That's all you change.
But 16's not in here.
No, but it's in the guts of the ordinance.
Got it.
Maybe not on what you have there, but that's what I'm saying. You can just approve the ordinance subject to the planning commission recommendation.
A little confusing there.
it's right behind you.
Very confusing. So basically, you would be taking the table out of anything that was above.
Now, the table just changes, that changes to 10 feet. Those numbers change to 10 feet. That's the change, I think, right?
The planning commission, I think, was modifying the table and saying 10 feet.
I'll show you, if it's okay with you guys, I'll show you what the planning commission recommendation is. Let's go back to the ordinance. This is how the table is right now. So it stays at 18 feet. That's it, right? So the thing that it will recommend planning commission is just to eliminate that sentence. Everything else stays the same.
So that's just that if they, so someone would just come into the office, your staff would approve, and they're on their way? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Correct.
But in the past, we've had issues with neighbors building accessory structures, and it's been like legal issues. It's been serious in the city.
That's why the staggering was created.
Right.
So.
But I don't know if I want to eliminate the public hearing.
So, I mean, how I'm reading this is that 18, as long as if it's 17 feet, you do not need a conditional use permit.
Correct.
But you also
No, that's
have
just,
to bring it closer to your house,
No, with
so it
the,
wouldn't,
with the set,
10 feet.
would the setback would change?
yes.
Okay, if yeah, I can answer the question, I just
Okay.
I didn't get it. So, if you go to 17 feet right now, you bring it to my front counter, I make sure you have 8 feet, okay?
you're good to go.
Setback,
Right.
and you don't need a conditional use permit.
Right,
I'll approve it right there. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, if you go 18 feet, I'll make sure you have 9 feet, and I approve it right there as well.
So the question, the real question is that,
It's-
number one, do you want them to come in to have a public hearing?
Over,
Or
over 10, between 10 and 18 feet.
between 10 and 18 feet?
That's right.
It's the height thing again, right?
And-
They come in because of the height, right? Once you hit that.
Most
Between 18 and
neighbors,
25,
most neighbors
they?
are concerned
25.
about the height.
right. Now,
But
again,
did you hear what he just said?
What?
Most of them are between 18 and 25.
All-
18 and 25, we would want the conditional use permit.
I agree.
Well,
But everyone that's come forward has been approved. And so they're saying, why are we doing this?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
yes.
Yeah, so
So that was the intent behind this?
Yes, yeah. I'm actually good the way you're recommending, Daniel, and keeping it 18 feet.
You mean 10 feet?
Sorry, 10 feet.
Okay.
That's the way the planning commission
So the
recommended
planning
it.
commission's recommendation.
Exactly.
I think maybe part of the confusion is that there is not a strikeout on the existing chart, and so it's getting kind of
Okay.
confusing about.
Let's go again. That right there is the recommendation of the planning commission. I only put one in the package, which was the recommendation of the staff.
In the
but that's
packet, it lists
recommendation.
out what they recommend and what they passed. so.
A is their recommendation.
That, eliminate that,
Yes.
and that's the recommendation of the planning commission. Eliminate that. Here it goes. Sorry about that. What happens is that, maybe that's something for future reference, I only put you guys one option on the package. This is the recommendation from the planning commission. I'm gonna do it right now, right here. So right here, the recommendation of the planning commission. It goes right here.
And he strikes.
But
And it's right there.
wouldn't they want 18 feet?
No, they don't want it. No, what the planning commission is saying is eliminate that 18-feet bracket. Eliminate it, okay? Go to
It's
25.
currently in there now.
Currently it's there right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Currently it's there right now.
Okay.
So planning commission is saying eliminate the 18-foot bracket. Staff is saying eliminate the 18-foot bracket. We're in the same right there. Planning commission and staff, both of us agree
Same,
that we don't need the conditional use. Both of us. Now, how do we go from there? Planning commission is saying eliminate it and keep it a 10-feet setback. Go to 25 height and keep it 10 distance. And the staff is saying, yeah, eliminate
want the
it.
chart.
Eliminate it. Go to 25, but instead of give me 10, give me 16.
And you eliminate the conditional and then a public hearing. yeah.
On planning commission and staff both are agreeing
I'm
that
good
we
with
need to
either one.
eliminate it.
Yeah, that's,
Is that clear?
it is now.
All right,
It was,
appreciate it.
that was a little confusing.
I'm, you know what, I don't get paid by the hour, but I'm glad, I can explain it all night long, whatever.
We just want to make, we just
We
want to
get
make sure
paid by
that,
the hour.
Get paid by comp time.
yeah, we want to make sure that when we approve these, that we
No, no,
really
for sure.
we
And
really
I'm
understand
here
them.
to answer
So
the
thank
question,
you.
so please
But
ask
saying
as many
18
questions. I want to
feet
make sure that this
so
is clear.
tall.
That's my job. If it's not clear, then I'm not doing my job correctly.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, 18 feet is so tall for a neighbor.
But it is, but that's always, yeah, it is. Well, 25
18
is tall.
feet, 25 is tall.
But they come forward and we approve all those.
Yeah, we're not, yeah,
We
we're
haven't
not,
turned one away.
We're not
So
discussing that.
let me just maybe make some clarifications for you guys.
Oh, I love
The
it
re-
when Tina does this.
So the reason why people are not normally turned away is because through the conditional use permit process, you can only deny the application if you've got the criteria in your ordinance and they don't meet the criteria. So because our ordinance is written the way it's written, as long as they're giving the setbacks required in our ordinance and the height restriction required in our ordinance, the planning commission can't deny it. And so the idea is to eliminate the conditional use public hearing in order to eliminate false expectations by the public that by coming to a public hearing and expressing their concerns, there's something that the planning commission can do. Now, the planning commission always has the discretion to, listen to the public, and if there's something that's brought up that they can add a condition, they're free to do that. But as far as heights and setbacks, those are in our ordinance, and they're bound by those requirements. What I think I hear Councilmember Anderson saying is that 18 feet is tall. Our ordinance already allows them to go to 25 feet. The reason for the scaling of the setbacks is theoretically, the farther you are from your neighbor's home, when they look out and see that 25-foot accessory building, it's going to look smaller to them, and it's not going to block their view quite as badly. When they're 10 feet from the property line and you look out your back window,
That's all
all
you
you're
see.
seeing is the side or the back of their accessory building. I think Daniel was attempting to implement that visual distance for the neighboring property owners so that it appears smaller and farther away,
And actually part of the house.
right? And the planning commission is of the opinion that that's not really necessary. They just want to keep the 10 feet, that's enough.
And if we have issue with height, we just need to change our zone and eliminate.
Yeah, if you don't want it that high, then we need to change the parameters of our ordinance and take out, I mean, you can say how high you want. You can take out any of those if you want.
Will that require a different item, though?
Yeah, we'd
Yeah,
have
not
to take,
tonight.
Not
we'd
tonight,
have to
correct,
send
not
that
tonight.
back if you wanted to
Correct.
change something.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
So, yeah, I would like if we can take away the 18 feet and go to the 25 in our minds, because that's actually what the code allows at this point. 25 feet.
So tall.
Because now it's actually worse.
Yeah, but that's something that we have allowed
Daniel,
for.
explain really quick, how did this come to be? Because now I'm curious how the discussion,
Exactly by how Tina explained it.
like, where, are we getting complaints? Like, was there
No, no,
people
it comes-
coming in?
Planning commission, it's like, it's difficult for planning commission when the people create that false expectation that they can
That they
come
can do
here,
something?
complain about it and say it's gonna block my view, and then that the planning commission will be able to change that. The planning commission, we already have requirements right there, and then with requirements are like, well, if the building's gonna be that high, then you need to build it, it cannot be metal, for example. You have to do it now similar to the main house. And then the planning commission, as long as you do this, go ahead and do it. And then it creates, again, a false expectation, heartache to a certain point when the public comes, because we send the notices they can't stop a structure like that. I mean, the 25-foot height is been in the code even before I started working here.
So
So
are
I-
we getting more people building these types of structures and more people coming to complain, like to public hearings?
No, this was a series of eliminating conditional uses. We have a lot of conditional use. For example, the height in fences is something that we also just barely remove, or the conditional uses on the size is also that we just recently removed. From those, actually, people also come and say, hey, that's too big. That's 1,200 is way too big for an R1A zone. And planning commission says, sorry, but, I mean, it's permitted,
Still.
it's a conditional use. As long as you
Well, so-
meet these conditions, you can do it.
You know, Diana, I mean, one of my pet peeves on the planning commission was that, right, those guardrails were there. And the people would come up and at length talk about, this is going to block my view, even if it's back 10 feet, 12 feet, right? And at the very end, we'd always have to tell them, I'm so sorry, but it meets the guidelines within the guardrails. And we had to carry on and move it forward, so.
So frame of reference, large RV, large boat.
Yes, that's something I was talking just to my peers right there in the back. I read that it's illegal actually to build an RV that is bigger than 13 and a half.
Okay.
Okay, so 13 and a half. I think if you go to 13 and a half, you go 15 on the structure, and then you add 3 feet for the roof, you're about
the
18.
pitch roof.
18. Yes, it's still one story. You still,
Okay.
even right now, they wouldn't. It's just usually for people who wants to do 2 stories
Yeah.
in the backyard.
Okay. So if there's no other discussion with the council, I would,
So can I ask one more question? Sorry, man, I'll make
Yes.
it quick here. I guess I hear the hangup is that we like the public having an opportunity to come voice. The problem is that they're going to be able to voice, but we're going to be able to say, I'm sorry again, it's within the guardrails and we have to move forward, right? And yes, we've probably went down the road of various people threatening lawsuits and things like that. But when the code says what it says, it's hard. So anyway,
okay.
I don't know how we.
Well, you can always make the code more restrictive. We haven't, so it says what it says.
What we have before us today is.
What we have for us today is eliminate the conditional use. Is that correct? Basically what we're doing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, council, I would ask for a motion on 2020-19 and a clarify, and also on that motion to clarify which direction you would like to go on the setback.
All right.
I always worry when somebody wants me to clarify.
We'll help you along as you go.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2020-19, amending City Code Section 10-9B-7-F2, single-family resident height considerations for accessory structures, eliminating the conditional use requirements. And I'm
So,
not
and keeping
modifying.
or modifying. So keeping would keep,
Would you be keeping with what the planning commission?
And keeping,
Okay.
if you want the
the-
planning commission recommendation, you'd be keeping the qualifying provisions for the
no, I
height.
don't want 10 feet. I want it staggered. So that would be
Then that would be
modifying.
modifying the qualifying
Thank you.
provisions for the height.
Modifying the qualifying provisions for height and of accessory structures in all the R1 zones.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second from, we have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will be a roll call vote.
Help me understand what you just said.
I want it
Okay,
staggered.
clarify
So
that. Maybe
the-
we
the
need
height, the
legal
taller
counsel
it
to that.
is,
No.
so it's not it's not,
understand.
okay.
Uh-huh.
So if it's taller,
Yep.
you have to come back off of the,
Sure, that's how it's written, that's how it's written.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Let me make this easy. She's saying to keep it staff recommendation and not,
The planning commission.
Planning Commission was
Planning Commission.
only 10 feet.
Okay?
Once you hit that certain.
I'm saying that the taller you go,
The
the
offset.
farther you have to come
Okay,
back to
I
the
just-
building.
Okay, I'm good.
okay, we
Okay.
good? Good with that?
Yep.
Hazel.
Okay, we all know what we're,
What we're voting for, yep.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion by me, a second by
That's correct, and we're,
Judge, and now we're waiting for.
and as soon as you are
Okay.
quiet, we'll have a vote.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, give us time. I still got a year.
Okay, this will be a roll call vote with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
I hope so, you made the motion.
Yeah.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Nay.
Councilmember Lamone,
No.
Councilmember Williams,
Ooh, it hinges on you.
Yes.
okay, it is a 3-2 vote, so we will go with the staff recommendation on this. Thank you very much for your, and
Now we got to do it all again.
hopefully this next one will be,
I hope everything's clear. So it's just a different zone, but the same rules, right, Daniel? Yes. But because it's different sections of the code, we
okay,
have to
we'll
have a
move
separate
on
public hearing.
to public hearing number 9B, public hearing for consider for adoption ordinance 2020-20, amending city code section 10-9A-8-2A, yard requirements, eliminating the conditional use requirements. Conditional use requirements, now listen to that, for the height of considerations for accessory structures in the RR residential zone. Is there any
So-
more that Daniel needs to present to us?
Same thing, just RR.
Yeah, just same, let me see, same thing, but what we just approved was for every single zone that has a 1 in front of it, R112, R19, R115, and this one is for all the green zones, the rural residential ones, the RR half-acre lots. We just have two different sections of the code referring to single families and to rural residential. It's exactly the same regulation, but now it's going to be applied to the rural residential.
Do these have to be separated?
Yes,
Yes.
different parts of the code.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Daniel?
It looks like, Daniel, it looks like the planning commission did something, I'm just reading their notes here again. Did they keep to the same thing on this one too?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Daniel.
okay.
With that, I will now open our public hearing for ordinance 2020-20. Invite anybody to come forward and address the council. I don't see a rush for the podium. We'll now stop our public hearing and bring it up to back to the council for more debate or a motion.
Well, so we're dealing with the RR here. We're dealing with a little bigger property, right? A little more room to do stuff with, so it's a little different.
It is, that's a whole lot different on a half-acre lot. Basically, it's a half-acre lot, right, Daniel?
Yes. Or larger.
So with that, ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-20, amending City Code Section 10-9A-8-2A yard requirements, eliminating the conditional use requirements for a height consideration for accessory structures in the RR rural residential zone.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
I think my only hesitation here is the 10 feet setback.
Whatever,
Okay,
we're just,
yes. So yes, I'll second that.
so this will be a roll call vote, and that, just to clarify, it's not the 10-foot setback, it's
This is the staggered,
It's
this
just
would
a
be
staggered
the
one
staff
after.
recommendation.
the same as we did before.
It's still staggered.
Yes.
It would be this one here.
Okay,
Do I care?
It's just that this zone's bigger, right? It gives more room to stagger.
Yes. That's okay.
So my question is do I care if it's staggered in the RR?
That's the question.
Yeah.
You've already seconded it.
Yes.
we've already seconded it.
Here's your chance, bro. Take it back.
We're going to go for a vote here, and we'll see how the vote turns out here. So this will be a roll call vote, and this time we'll start out with Councilmember Williams.
Wow.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
No.
Councilmember Jensen.
Nay.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
And Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, it was 3-2 vote. It passes, but same as the last one, so thank you.
Softball tonight, I've won.
So that's, we'll now move to 9C, public
playing
hearing
catcher.
to consider for adoption of ordinance 2020-21 to apply the R18 single-family residential zone to approximately 2.98 acres on property currently zoned on the RR rural residential, zone R1-10, single-family residential zone located approximately 920 west, 1100 north. Director.
All right, Mayor, this is 2.98 acres, almost 3 acres of land. When we look at our zoning map, it's gonna look like that, 3 different colors. Okay, so it looks like on that property, in the same parcel, we have R18, this one right here. We have RR, a strip of RR, and a strip of R110, okay? Usually what happens is that, you know, when we rezone, we usually follow property lines. However, it looks like this property has been like consolidated or something like that happened, and now it looks like a tricolor zone, okay? But if we look around, there's R18 all around this property. And if we will like zoom out from the map, we'll see that R18 is all around this property right here. And usually when there's a property that has multiple zones on it, I apply the most predominant zone. Just by looking at this is more predominant than this and this one, so I usually go with that one. However, I think it's a good housekeeping item to do, and also because there's an item coming forward that is for a subdivision, so talking to the applicant, we agreed that going to an R1A will be the best solution for this parcel. So again, the proposal is to go from a multi-zone two into one zone, R18, which part of this is already R18, plus now is consistent to the surrounded area. That's what I have, Mayor.
And we have one existing structure on that property there, in that area, right?
Yes. As we can see right there, it's here right at the bottom.
Yeah. All right. Any questions for Daniel on this? Nope. Any more? If not, I'd like to open the public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2020-21. Anybody like come and address this at this time? That's the reason you came tonight.
Again, James Hancock. The next item is, I'm the developer on it, the next item is the actual subdivision. When we looked at the layout on it, all of the lots, there's 9 lots in the subdivision. All the lots fall between 12,800 and 13,200 square feet. So the lots are much bigger, but because of where the roads have to connect, where the R10 is, well, here, where this road has to connect through over to here, we've got a corner lot that sits here and a corner lot that sits here and one that sits here. And if we do R112, that setback is caused us issues. And so the R18 has I think it's 5 feet less, is that correct? Than on the setbacks. And we were having issues with the corner lots, getting it to work within the other zones. And this is R18. Right,
Okay,
right. But that's why we were asking for R18.
all right, thank you. Anyone else like to come forward and address the council? No, we'll now close our public hearing, bring it back up to council for further discussion or a motion.
She kind of gave that hum like she was going to say something, I don't know.
I hate going smaller. So that's my hesitation.
Well, you got a whole neighborhood to the east
That's R18.
that's R18.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-21 to apply the R18 single-family residential zone to approximately 2.98 acres on property currently zoned RR Rural Residential Zone and R110 Single-Family Residential Zone located at approximately 920 West, 1100 North.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Jensen. This will be a roll call vote, and we will start out with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
And Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. We'll now finish all of our public hearings this evening and move into our action items ready for vote this evening and move to 10A. Consider for a request for James A. Hancock for a 9-lot final subdivision plat called Autumn Grove at Hollinger Estates Plat A on property located approximately 920 West, 1100 North in the R18 Single Family Residential Zone, Northfield neighborhood. Director.
Mayor, Council, let's focus again on the previous approved parcel that was rezoned. And now, all these 2.98 acres is R18. The applicant is proposing to do a 9-lot residential subdivision in there. This is how the plat looks. If we take a look at it, yes, we went to an R18, but I think every lot is bigger, way bigger than that. This is 12,000, 13,000, 13,000, 13,000, 12. I mean, they're all above the required footprint, the required square footage of a lot, which is 8,000 square feet. I think what the applicant was referring to is because, it's not the setbacks, but it's because When you're in a corner lot, you need to give us a little bit more of the width of the lot. But every single lot right here, if it wasn't because of that requirement, could easily fit into an R12, R110 or R112 zone, right? But again, in corner lots, we require a little bit more of a width of a lot. I think it's 10 feet more for the width of the lot. But other than that, again, if we take a look at this, these lots could easily fit into an R110, R112 zone as well, okay? So there's a continuation of 1180 right there, which is gonna be, if we go back to this, is a connection between this street and this other one street right there. Okay, just recently we created a one lot plat subdivision for this lot, for this piece of land right here that was left out. So there's actually connection, so all that is solved. And yeah, the road will continue right here, connect with that one as well. And the proposal is for a 9-lot subdivision in an R1A zone. However, as we can see, the lots are larger than 8,000 square feet by a lot, okay? Every single lot complies with the front with the width of the lot, frontage of the lot, and I mean, that's what we have.
Okay. Any questions, council, for Daniel?
Okay. Mayor, I'll make a motion
Okay,
to approve a 9-lot final subdivision plat called Autumn Grove at Hollinger Estates, Plat A, on property located approximately 920 west, 1100 north in the R18 single-family residential zone.
we have a motion by Councilmember Williams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I just have one question for James back there. Is the Hollinger Homestead going to be removed?
Oh,
It'll be on Lot B, or is that, or Lot A, or Lot 9?
Wait,
Oh, it'll be on Lot 8, okay. Diana had that question there, so you're keeping the old homestead, that's great.
okay.
So,
Well, good to hear.
hey, be careful, that's my hood there, okay?
I know, that's
All
your
right,
hood.
So, anyway, so it's been a lot of time down there,
And my son-in-law's.
so. Okay, we'll now move on to 10B, consider for request from Gina Shoshi for a how do you
Shoei.
pronounce that?
Jean
Sean?
Shoei.
Okay, for a one-lot final subdivision plat called Gun Subdivision Plat A on property located approximately 500 north, 2,000 west in the Grove Zone, Commercial Sales Subdistrict.
Oh, Sam White's.
Director,
Thank you. Unfortunately, I closed the view of it, but Kyler is going to help me to bring it back in. And 8062, here it comes. So Mayor, Council, this is, as we know, this is one of my favorite items when I bring new projects that go into the Grove area, right? We getting the Grove area populated, and we always appreciate when we have new business coming into our city. There we go. So it's Mr. Shoei. I'm glad I practiced the last name before I brought it to you guys. So they're doing two things. Number one thing, they're creating a new lot. The lot is almost an acre, and the proposal actually is to put a, I'm going to call it a medical office. That I didn't practice. Chiropractor? There you go, chiropractor. Type of an office right there. So this is the location of it. Just to give us some point of reference, Noddles is right here, and the gas station is right there.
Actually, oh yeah, Nuddles is there.
Right, Noddles? The Maverick. Yeah, and what did I say? Did I say Maverick? No, you said gas station. Oh, okay, the Maverick. I didn't want to say names, but the Maverick. There you go. Well, I hope they give me a free one for saying their name in the city council that everyone watches. So yeah, this is the Maverick. This is Noddles. I know that very well because Linda, rest in peace, that was her favorite place to go Her eyes will go big when she will think about Nuttall. So she will be happy to know that there's a new project coming right there. Again, it's in the commercial sales sub-district. This is the empty lot right now, and that's what the chiropractor office will be. The lot is about shy of an acre. We don't have requirements on size of lots for over there, so it meets the rest of the requirements. It has a great frontage, great access, and this is the office that they're gonna provide. Okay, so the footprint is about 7,000 square feet. This item being on the Grove, it went to the DRB, the Design Review Board. They took a look, and they're the ones that give the thumbs up on the landscape, and they're also the ones that give the thumbs up on the colors and materials and the building elevations. Again, it's considered a commercial use, a commercial building. It went to Planning Commission, and it received a positive recommendation of approval. It's a two-story one. Nice
Go-
building to have in
Go
there.
back to the site.
Site plan?
Yeah.
Okay. On the
So
color
shared-
or that one?
Well, shared in, so it's obviously going to be a right in, right out. But is it that shared in at the north side? Oh. Is that road by the sewing place? Right.
But Nuttall's.
Got it.
If we take a look at the aerial view, that's actually going to help us a little bit more. Yeah, you can see the access is right there.
And
So-
up by the bank.
Correct. Well, the bank is right here. Right here, right? This is the
Right,
bank. Yeah,
that's the bank.
correct. So there will be a
Parking in the back.
access easement. Yeah, parking in the back, building to the front, which is what planners always like, instead of parking on the front.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay, that's what I have, Mayor.
Okay, any other questions for Daniel? If not, thank you, Daniel. And I ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the Sean Shoei for a one-lot final subdivision plat called Gun Subdivision Plat A on property located at approximately 500 North, 2000 West in the Grove Zone.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to 10D. To consider for adoption Resolution 2020-051, authorizing the mayor to sign a sewer hookup and service agreement.
Hang on, Mayor.
No,
What's that, excuse me?
So 10B
C.
was the final lot, final subdivision plat. 10C is the site
Oh,
plan.
excuse me, I jumped down.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead here a little bit.
okay,
And you've seen the presentation on site plan.
yes.
Okay. Excuse me, General Counsel, for making you get up there for a minute there, so. We're still not through with Daniel. Okay, we'll move to 10C. I scratched that one off already. Consider for request for one A Shoney for a site plan for a two-story multi-tenant professional office building on property located at approximately 500 North, 2000 West in the Grove Zone Commercial Sub-District. Director Cardenas, anything you need to add to this than we've already seen?
No, Mayor, the presentation was dual for the plat and for the site plan.
Okay. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Nope.
Not, I ask for a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the request of Sean Shoei for a site plan for a two-story multi-tenant professional office building on property located approximately 500 North, 2000 West in the Grove Zone.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move to 10D. Consider for adoption Resolution 2020-051, authorizing the mayor to sign a sewer hookup and service agreement and encroachment agreement with Stephen D. and Dwayne W. West to allow for existing accessory building to remain within public right-of-way until such time as further development occurs on the property generally located at 1400 North, 950 East in Pleasant Grove, and providing for an effective date. And you're stepping in for the,
I am stepping in for Marty today. So my goal is to be quicker. So we'll see
don't count on it.
if I get that far. On the screen, it will give you a general idea of the location and the right-of-way that we're speaking about. Steve and Diane West own an existing home, and it's in a rural area. It's east of the Murdoch Canal, and they would like to put, there's an existing home and an existing accessory structure, a barn-type thing that services their orchard. They want to build a home for their daughter, and rather than, because it's only a one-lot subdivision and it's only one additional house, rather than have them go to the expense of improving that pink area of Murdoch Drive, they will be dedicating that pink area to the city for future improvement at such time as they decide to further subdivide the property and develop it. So the city is receiving the dedication for the public right-of-way, the extension of Murdoch Drive in the future. And you'll see that there's a corner of their existing barn that encroaches on that pink area. And we are agreeing to allow them to not tear their barn down at this point and encroach upon the public right-of-way for that small corner until such time as they do further develop the property. In addition, they are currently served by a septic tank system. They do not want to hook up to the city sewer services at this time, and we have agreed to allow them to continue to use their current septic tank system unless it fails or until they further develop the property.
And when the development takes place in that area that's being dedicated, are they going to pay for the improvements?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoever develops it, whether
Whoever.
it's them or a different developer who buys the property, but they will be responsible for the improvements cost.
Any other questions for council? Okay, if not, as for a motion for resolution number 2020-051.
Okay. Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2020-51, authorizing the mayor to sign a sewer hookup and service agreement and an encroachment agreement with Stephen D. and Diane W. West to further development occur, is that right?
Yep.
To allow an existing accessory building to remain within the public right-of-way until such time as further development occurs on the property generally located at 1400 North, 950 East, Pleasant Grove, Utah, and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Williams. This will be a roll call vote, and we'll start out with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone. Yes. And Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. We'll now move to 10E. Consider for adoption Resolution 2020-052, authorizing the mayor to execute an extension to professional service contract with Custom Lighting Services LLC, doing business as Black and McDonald, for asset management, street lighting maintenance, and construction services, providing for an effective date.
Mayor and council, about 3 years ago, we executed an agreement with Black & McDonald. I don't know if you remember, but at that time, we decided to purchase and own all of our own streetlights, and we entered into an agreement with them to actually maintain and service those streetlights and install them when necessary. That contract has a 3-year extension provision in it. Both parties have decided they would like to exercise that 3-year extension. Marty indicates that he's been very happy and satisfied with the service that we've received, and so that's what's before you. The only significant changes are to the cost, the price list, and as you would expect, in 3 years, they're changing upward slightly. Marty feels as though they're reasonable,
Increases.
reasonable increases, and he's satisfied with them
And then this is again for another 3 years,
for 3 more years.
right?
Okay, any other questions for General Counsel?
Nope, but I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2020-052, authorizing the mayor to execute an extension to the professional services with contract with Custom Lighting Services, doing business as Black and McDonald for asset management and street light maintenance and construction services, and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. It'll be a roll call. We'll go the other direction this time. Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
And Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. And we'll now move on to 10E. No, 10F, our last one here this evening. One we've been looking for. Consider for adoption Resolution 2020-053, authorizing the mayor to execute various easement agreements with quitclaim deeds between Rocky Mountain Power, North Utah County Water Conservancy District, Pleasant Grove City, for the Battle Creek water tank property and generally located at 1700 East, 200 South, Pleasant Grove, Utah, to implement the terms of the memorandum of agreement dated October 17, 2020, between entities regarding the clarification of property lines, access easements in the area, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. Would you show page 104 in the packet? While he's doing that, I just thought maybe I should explain why the short titles to these items are so long. As an attorney, I want to make sure that when the public sees our agenda, that they're not getting just 1 or 2 sentences. I'm trying to make sure that they understand exactly what we're doing with these resolutions. And so sometimes they get to be a little wordy, and I recognize that they're difficult and hard for you to read, that much information. But I think it serves a public purpose in making sure that we're transparent and our public knows that when you're looking at an ordinance or a resolution, they know exactly what you're doing, and it's not boiled down. So,
And legally, when we make the motion, do we repeat, like he announces what it
you don't have to say the
is?
whole thing,
You just say, as read by the mayor? Okay,
and
thank
that's
you.
fine. You don't have
for
to
the
reread,
wordies.
you don't have to reread this title every time.
So you can't correct me.
This map is, kind of synopsizes what we're doing, if that's a word, synopsize.
It's not.
So I knew you would comment on that.
Snop
It's not a
eye,
word.
snop eye
Hey,
is plural.
We're attorneys, we get to make it up as we go along. This actually is a project that has been over 3 years in the development. And all 3 entities have worked long and hard to reach agreement, not only between the 3 entities, but also with neighboring property owners regarding access. So this is our Battle Creek water tank. That's the little white circle to the left of second. Oh, you want me to use technology? Okay, right there. That's our Battle Creek water tank. And the old Telluride Power Company used to own property in that area for a power plant, which has long since been gone. But Rocky Mountain Power has power lines going through there, and they retained easements. So a couple of years ago, the North Utah County Water Conservancy District was doing the improvements to the debris basin there that they own. And in part of that project was the 3 entities getting together and saying, okay, our boundary lines for what we think we own, what we need to own, and how we're using them are somewhat blurry. And so we agreed to swap properties to actually reflect the needs of each entity and to clean up the boundary lines and then grant each other easements. There's a road that goes down here that these property owners back here are using as pasture for their horses and access for their property. And so as part of the overall global resolution, you have already granted license agreements to these property owners 2 or 3 weeks ago at our city council meeting. They will have access on through our road, and then we're going to be constructing a gate that they will have a key to access their property for just the existing and historical uses, not for any further development. If by some chance they develop it in the future and change the use, they will no longer have access through our road for that purpose. They'll have to do access from the bottom. Rocky Mountain Power and North Utah County Water Conservancy District, we all need to access that area for our various uses. That's what the easements are for. So I don't know if you have any questions, but it was a very long, complicated process. We revised legal descriptions I don't know how many times, and also needed to work with those landowners as well to get some things cleaned up with them. So it's a great sense of accomplishment that we're finally done with this project.
It's wonderful.
Thank you, great work. Any other questions for General Counsel?
I just know,
Those-
congratulations.
Yes,
Thank
those
you.
entities, those
That's,
entities.
That's been long coming,
Yeah. A lot of negotiations.
yes.
So with that, if there isn't any other further questions between the council, I'd ask for a motion on 2020-053.
Well, Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2020-053 as read by you earlier.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will be a roll call vote again, and we will start out with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
And Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor
Passes
and Council.
unanimously, and there's only
Thank you.
7 places to sign on this one. So anyway, we'll save that for a minute. That concludes our action items this evening, and now we will continue from our work session and ask for our staff input, and we'll now ask the Chief Roberts if you'd come forward and
He says as he's walking up here, finally.
Finally. Brent, we used to do this until 11:30 at night.
I'm still confused, so somebody tell me how big of a shed I can build in my backyard.
In your particular case.
How high do you want to go? What kind of toy do you want to hide in a shed?
Just a couple of things. It's been busy over there. Yesterday was Linda Chipman's last day, so she's officially retired after 36 years. So we're having a little get-together with her tomorrow in here from 3 to 5. 36 years is a long time to dedicate to the city, and
Yes.
she started at the old city hall across the street on Main Street there, and
And she was 2.
she was a dispatcher, and the way she would dispatch a call is she would flip a switch, a light switch, and a red light on top of the building would go off, and
No, it was on the telephone pole.
on the telephone pole, that's right.
Center Street.
Yeah, you were, because you probably responded to the calls, and
Oh, absolutely.
so who knew? If the officers were paying attention, they'd drive to the station and find out what was going on. But
And throw the message down on a clothespin.
Oh, my.
Was this in the,
technology's changed a bit.
was this in the 40s or 50s? Is that what we're talking about?
In the 60s. And city couldn't afford a radio, and so that's how we had to get our information.
Was it off of a little piece of paper, off of a
Exactly.
clothespin?
Sometimes the address was wrong too, by the way.
So I'm sure she'd love to see you if you have a minute to stop by.
Wow.
3 to 5?
Yeah,
Okay.
And is that public?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And here?
In here.
Okay.
We, as far as our openings go, we're having a little bit of good luck on that. We we got an official signature of a kid who's agreed to take a job with us. He's currently working for Orem. He's worked there for about a year and a half. He grew up in Texas, worked there for about 6 months. He's a good kid, real promising. He gave his official 2 weeks to Orem yesterday, so that'll be good for us. He'll spend a week or two just getting to know the city, and then he can hit the ground running. Don't have to spend 3 months teaching him how to be a cop. Kyler helped us out last week with some interviews, some real promising candidates there, although none of them have any experience, but we're finishing the testing process tomorrow with some scenario-based training, and that'll be good, so hopefully.
So we have hired him,
The Texas kid, yes, he's official, and so as soon as he's on.
Do we have his name?
His name is Justin Penrose.
Okay.
So as soon as he's on and official and in uniform, I'll bring him in front of you guys and let you meet him. And then hopefully we can pick up another guy after the testing process tomorrow. And that'll be 4 people we're training still, but that'll be full staff. So we haven't had that in quite some time. So cross your fingers and knock on wood.
That's wonderful.
Other than that, it's pretty much been business as usual. Django got another bite over the weekend. It was a really good one. He's turned out to be quite the bad guy catcher. We had a domestic violence call over the weekend, a really bad one. The guy fled before we were able to get up there. When we got there, through the investigation, we found out the guy had extraditable warrants out of Idaho for aggravated domestic violence. With the help of American Fork and Linden, we were able to set up a perimeter. It took about 45 minutes. We came across him twice. He was really fast, ran a couple times. We lost him. Corporal Peterson was able to come across him and gave him some commands to comply with our orders, and which he did not. He fled a 3rd time, and he didn't outrun Django, so took another bad guy off the streets. It was worked out well. So he's a really, really good canine. We're lucky to have him. So other than that, I don't have much more unless you have questions or concerns.
Does Django have a body cam?
No, that's a really good idea, though.
It is.
Thanks.
We'll have to work something out.
Thanks, Chief. Tell your officers we appreciate all of you.
Be great footage.
So it's- Sherry, would you like to come up and give us an update on the library?
I know.
Long ways back there.
I don't know how to follow up
With
a dog. that-
Django?
Yes. We have no
domestic
dogs.
violence takedown.
Is there any books about dogs in your,
We do have those.
Sometimes I wish I had them at council meeting and I'd say, okay,
We have had a dog that
Take down
comes in
Diana.
and kids can
somebody
read to
out.
them.
get Diana
That's the
first?
closest I can come. Little dogs that little kids can read to. Totally different from Django. The library's doing well. We had about 5,000 visits in August. And
Compared to what?
Wow.
that's the question.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
what is that?
hoping
What is
you
that?
wouldn't ask. It was 13,000 last August.
Yeah. But that's more than the 1,000 that you had the month before.
Well, we had about 5,000 in July too. But before that, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot slower, but we're also open fewer hours and didn't have summer reading. So it'll be interesting to see how September compares because that'll be a little more normal. I think just compared to last September.
Yeah.
But we're doing well. People are happy. The people seem satisfied when they come in. I appreciate Bill putting in some, separation things at the checkouts and doing some other things to help us. So yeah, doing well.
Good.
well, it's still kind of when I drive by there as much as I do, and it's kind of sad. I'm sorry, because I don't see all the kids and that were piling in there before.
I know, and every so often we're getting teen groups, and we got rid of our furniture so that we didn't get groups just sitting around in the library, but it kills us because, we want them in there.
Yeah,
Eventually, we'll get back.
we will. Thanks, Sherry.
Thanks.
Chief, do you want to, we still got a firefighter in California, or is he back yet?
think he's still there.
No,
think Zach's still there.
actually, I thought I saw him here tonight.
Pardon me?
Zach?
Jumpy Jake not here?
Zach Larson.
Oh, Zach.
Zach Larson, yeah, we embedded him with Lone Peak
Yeah.
so that he
Don't
could
ever do
fill
that
out
again.
more of his progressive book. So he's got a lot of wildland background, and as you progress through things, then you can deploy more often for more money, and it's an opportunity for us to kind of take a step up. So going to a large fire like this, he'll be able to pick up several more little check marks in his book and help him advance and stuff. And when we were in staff meeting earlier today, I said that the California had asked them to extend for 7 days. They actually ended up changing their mind, so they don't want them to extend now.
Is there a
they've-
reason for that?
Pardon me?
Is there a reason for that?
It could easily be a safety reason. They're just saying they don't need them, but they're working 24-hour operational periods, and that's a lot of time to be scratching the dirt
Yeah.
with a shovel, every day.
Physical
and then
hard
the day
work.
off and stuff. So they've been holding a line on a fairly large fire, trying to keep it from moving into the forest, and they've done a pretty good job. And so I guess they're kind of getting the upper hand of that. So, but they're going to release them in the next week or so. It's a 16-day deployment, and they're about halfway through.
Okay.
So he'll be back.
Wow.
Thank you. Director Giles, do you want to?
It cooled down for a couple of days. It's been really nice.
That was nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice,
real
last
nice.
night.
Oh, thank goodness. I really don't have a lot to report. We're just busy. Same old stuff. Got a lot of projects going we're working on, and that's about it. So we miss our summer help. It's a lot to have the guys take a day out of their 4-day schedule to do their mowing and stuff. So it puts us behind on a few of the smaller projects, but we're still trying hard. So
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, maybe they'll shut the schools down. They'll be
I
back.
love it.
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, no, he's like, no, then his son is gonna come home for.
Director Wilkins.
Actually, they did close down for 2 days, right? But then they
Yes.
start up with the staggered.
Today and tomorrow.
Mayor, council, we are really busy getting ready for the fall. We have a lot of programs getting ready to go. It's coming indoors, so we got gymnastics, dance, Amber's just getting started on all of her toddler programs for kids to be able to come, moms to bring kids into the gym and let them run around and get some energy out. And then flag football, volleyball, second grade basketball. We're just all getting ready for all sorts of stuff coming up. So really busy. So if you see any of them, they're trying to think through all their programs, plus keeping people safe with COVID. And so that's their major thing they're doing right now.
Was there a dance that you did on Instagram?
Any new dance moves?
Hands over your head.
I had a
glasses?
request for him to.
Hands over your head.
Yeah, seriously. No. Yeah, my fitness director, Andy, she wanted to really get the announcement out because it was a big thing for our fitness instructors to be able to offer daycare again because a lot of moms
Yes.
haven't been able to come without daycare. So
Well,
she
it worked.
She thought, why not put
Did
the
it work?
director doing a little jig on the, but
That was priceless.
yeah, I guess so.
Needs to be in the record.
A lot of people have said they have it saved.
Oh, yes.
So
Was that the first take or second take?
that was about the 15th take.
Oh.
So I
You
couldn't
had to
get-
practice
I
that?
couldn't get the number down quite right. So yeah. So
Oh, cute.
yeah, but those are two big classes to come back to the child care and then senior fit. We've heard a lot from our seniors that really just missed that mentally in their lives, that they needed to be with other seniors and staying fit. So we're excited to offer both of those. So
Any other questions? Thank you.
thank you.
Daniel, do you have anything else to share with us tonight? You've been the star player tonight.
I've been kind of quiet today.
Other than we're just excited and looking forward to our meeting with the Planning Commission next week.
On the 8th, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm bringing tacos No, I'm just kidding, I'm not. That was just to get everyone excited, but I'm not. No, we are starting interviews this week for our code enforcement guy and our new assistant. So I think we're gonna do our new assistant on Thursday. And well, we don't work on Monday, and we start next week immediately to do interviews for code enforcement. So we're looking forward to have him or have her with us pretty soon.
Have you got it narrowed down to?
Yes, we narrowed down to 8. So we're gonna do 4 interviews one day, 4 interviews the next day. I mean, we had like over 30 applicants, so that's what we're gonna do.
Is it possible,
Let's get him on board because he's gonna need to spend a day with the mayor because I got a lot
Sure.
of things to show him.
Well,
Okay,
is
I'm on
it
that ride
possible
along.
we could get a dog from the police department too? To
Yeah.
go with the code enforcer?
we, those are good enforcers for sure, we will.
Yes.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
I think it's the paddy wagon drive-along with the code enforcer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work for that person when he comes, so we're excited, but we're moving forward to have him.
Okay.
Have him or have her. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mayor.
Daniel. Denise, do you have anything for us tonight? Kathy? Anything else? Tyler? If not, our city manager.
I apologize, I do have a few things. Just a reminder, and it's already just been reminded, that next Tuesday, September 8th, here at 6 o'clock will be a joint meeting with the City Council and Planning Commission. We really just have one agenda item, and that will be the discussion on the Grove and what the vision is of the City Council regarding that and sharing that with the Planning Commission, so we can have a dialogue and make sure we're all on the same page. We will be meeting in this room. We will be spreading out in a sense, so maybe council on the dais, and then we'll bring in some of these tables so that we can keep our 6-foot distance, but yet have a meeting. We would like to form what we're would call a COVID committee, which would be mostly staff, but we would appreciate a couple elected officials on this committee, and what it is to review the expenses that we are going to incur with our CARES Act money. We feel right now, as we've gone through it, most of the decision-making has been me and Denise, a little bit of Tina, and we feel we need to expand that and make sure that we have a robust look at what we're doing so that as we make recommendations and spend this money, that we have a lot of eyes looking at this, because as we've talked about in the past, there will be an audit coming, and we're not exactly sure some of the criteria that's going to be asked of us or required of us. So we have a lot of thoughts and feelings as staff regarding this, but we feel it would be in our best interest as a city, and this has been recommended to us to create a committee to review all these expenses as far as that's concerned. So the committee would consist of me and Tina, Denise, our 2 public safety, so both our chiefs or a representative from their department. And then we'd like to have a couple elected officials. So we will meet, whether that's during the day or later in the afternoon. I guess depending on who wants to be on there and what your time schedule is. But we will
I'd be
need some
happy.
time.
I'd be happy to
Would
be
you
on.
be interested in that, Brent?
I can.
I think you need to stand on your own on this one, Scott.
I'm looking for a little
You're looking for fall guys here.
I'm looking for an understanding. Again, we don't want staff to get out in front of our elected officials, but
I'm always willing to help, Mayor and Scott, whatever
But
you
if
need.
he's available, that's probably more his forte, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how many meetings do you think you'll be having?
my guess is over the course of the next, now, if they extend the deadline, I mean, this could extend into July or October of next year, in which we have to spend this money. If that deadline gets extended, we'll probably be meeting once a month. If that deadline does not get extended, we'll probably be meeting a little bit more regular than that.
Okay,
Regarding the rules.
we'll come up with some.
Yeah.
So if you want to send me an email or whatever, Mayor, as to who you want on that, and then I'll start working with him, scheduling when those meetings are. Just want to take a step back in regards, and I sent you an email on Friday regarding Main Street and one of the sides of Main Street where we have some plywood that's been put up by one of our local businesses. The mayor and I met with the owner of the business probably 2 years ago to talk about their vision of downtown and what they were looking to accomplish. They told us they were working on a plan. And then I think they've pretty much have backburnered, if that's a word, plans for what they were going to do on Main Street. This led to me and Diana and Sid meeting with one of their representatives. This was in March. I remember it was pre-COVID by a few days because we actually social distanced. I think that was when that terminology became new to me. And talked to them about some of the concerns we had, particularly that area, that we needed a coat of paint on that plywood to make it look good and presentable. So at the time, they had made a commitment that they were going to get that done. And then I had a follow-up discussion with them because nothing has been done. That meeting was probably 5 months ago, almost 6 months ago. And what was responded back to me is that they are doing some remodeling, and as part of their bid for the remodel project, they're going to put the painting of the fence on there, the plywood area. But that would be still a month or two away. So
Wait, say that's not, they're going to,
they're going to do some remodeling in some of their offices because they're not, their employees are all working from home. So they're going to take advantage of that time. They're going to do some remodeling, and they would make the painting of the fence part of their bid. So they would.
okay.
So are they just going to, is their plan just to paint the plywood?
Yes,
So I think,
Seriously?
yes.
That's about a 45-minute job.
yeah, it's a
Just
gallon
right.
of paint in 45
Well,
minutes.
understood.
Like, I think
But not
we
only
waited
that, but
long
I mean,
enough.
to draw this out for 2 months, as well as just paint plywood that will weather and look just as bad come spring, is just about the most ridiculous thing I've heard.
Yeah.
And it makes me frustrated that we're allowing him to do that.
Well, that's why we're having the discussion.
I mean, what I'd love is I'd love that to be pulled down and have a courtyard that beautifies the public street and public right-of-way there, than just a piece of plywood. I'm disappointed in the landowner's quality of work there.
So our stance as staff has been to work with them, work with them, work with them. Unfortunately, there has not been action. And so that's part of the discussion is I want to make sure we're following the will of the city council on how hard you want us to push, which isn't a problem. If there is a feeling that, that we want that down, if you look behind that, there's a bunch of work that's going to need to be done in order to create a courtyard atmosphere there.
Again, I'm not telling him what he needs to do on his property, but there's got to be code violations of plywood just up on a main street.
Yes.
And that's our ability to hold him accountable for that.
Correct.
Right? So, if I would look at Daniel, and Daniel wanted to build a building across the street, and the landowner said, you know what, the outside of this building is just going to be plywood, press board, and I'm just going to paint it. Daniel, what would you say? Not a chance.
Well, right.
Not a chance. He'd throw him out of community development.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hold him to the downtown standards that we have.
It's been there the plywood's been there for 3 years.
No, it's been there a while. So, I mean, we can have the further discussion. The issue is if there's not.
Do you know what the intent of that space is going to be?
No.
In the long run? Okay.
I mean, you were with me when we met
But
with
Scott,
them.
the thing is, we've had multiple discussions. I think it's no more discussions. We just tell them we're code enforcing at this point. Like, they keep
Right.
telling us it's gonna happen, and it doesn't, and it's embarrassing. And for the business owners down on Main Street, that's not fair to them either. So we would code enforce anyone else, but the
Correct.
discussions aren't going anywhere. We need help.
So what code are they
Well, I don't know specifically, but I'm assuming that a plywood fence is not allowed
Code.
there. But the issue then becomes is, okay, are we okay to start finding them? And if the council's okay with that, we'll head that direction, because we have been working with them in good faith in a sense of, hey, we want to see this improved. They've told us that they would improve it, but the action has not happened. So really, the next step is, all right, we are now going to cite you. And that's our next step in order to get compliant.
My feeling is the council has been very, very clear on code enforcements in the city.
Sure.
And it doesn't appear that that message is getting through, that we want code enforcement. We want a code enforcement person. We've allocated money for that person. We've given money for that person. And yet, it just doesn't seem like it executes on.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I would say that that's just a symptom. You know, we've got to be able to solve all of our code problems, whether it's vinyl signs or whether it's, I don't know, what other issues are you?
No, I mean, you know, there's plenty of code
Yeah,
issues to that point, sure.
That's where we want our city to be a showpiece for Utah County.
Yeah.
We got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Let's go do it.
Okay. All right, so that was the direction I'm looking for. I appreciate it. We'll move in that direction. So that's the only items I have. We do have an executive session issue that we need to discuss that's on our agenda, which would, there's something I need to project up on the screen, so we'll need to stay in this room. We'll be able to lock the doors here, but just want to make sure that normally we'd meet in that back room, but we'll need to stay in here for that.
Okay. Well, Todd, we'll turn to the council. Do you have anything else to say?
I don't, nope.
I do.
Mark your notepad there. Yeah.
I just have one item. September 19th, it's a really cool business. It's going to have a ribbon cutting called Ghost Longboards. It brings back my days in the 80s when I used to be a skateboarder, but they sell longboards. And they had a dream, and they were out of Cedar Hills up here, out of a garage, and they quickly grew out of it. And they looked around a bunch of cities, and they chose Pleasant Grove down here by I think it's the Academy on Sam White's on 700. the
Spectrum.
Spectrum?
Yeah, the
Cool.
long
The
building.
warehouses just,
Yeah. So they moved in one of those, and they're selling probably, he said, between 150, 300 longboards a day.
really? That's awesome.
It's a really cool operation that what they're doing. It's this clear plexi type of glass that's, they take your height and weight and they make it accordingly, and
So like different designs or?
different designs. So, yep. I've got one in the car if you want to see one that we're going to give away at the golf tournament. But anyway, so it's going to be September 19th, and I don't have a time yet.
Okay.
That's all.
Councilmember Anderson.
No, I don't have anything.
Councilmember Lamone. Councilmember Bullock. And Councilmember Lamone, you do need to sign that plat. You're the left. Okay, thank you. I think we've got it all signed. Well, if not, I don't think I really have anything this evening, other than I appreciate all of you and working with you. It's, I know there's still some councils that are meeting by Zoom and whatever, and I'm glad you guys are willing to come and meet here together, because I think it works a whole lot better for us. So thank you for taking that, and keep yourself healthy. And hey, you know, Pleasant Grove was kind of on the hot list last couple of days, but I understand another school's already surpassed that, so anyway. But I'll tell you, the district keeps things pretty, they don't let much information out, so anyway, they want to keep that kind of quieted down, so we'll get through ours, and hey, as a city, we've had our share of little outbreaks here and there, and we seem like we get over them, and so we'll pass. So with that, we do have need to adjourn from this meeting and reconvene in a closed session to discuss property issues. Is that correct? And so I ask for a motion to adjourn and reconvene as in a
Do
closed
we,
session.
do we go right into reconvening? So,
Well, the language for the executive session's on the agenda.
all right, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the city council meeting, and we then, and then move into a closed meeting to discuss the sale of real property.
Second. Sid can have it.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? And motion carries. We're now adjourned, and we're